She started from a Dallas dynasty and will finish with her own empire. Real Housewives of Dallas star D'Andra Simmons is here in studio to spill the tea. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Brittany, bring it. We got D'Andra Simmons here in studio, y'all. You are in for a special treat, a very special treat, all the way from Dallas, Highland Park, to be specific. Within the zip code, D'Andra Simmons is here. Welcome, D'Andra.
Very important. Very important, that zip code.
Yes. And so, D'Andra, where can we find you on all things social media?
D'Andra Simmons on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram.
Perfect. Yes.
Without an apostrophe, I think.
Yes, D-apostrophe, right? Gotcha. And so welcome back, y'all. My name is Rachel Robillard, and y'all can find me on Twitter at Rach_Robillard. I'm here with my amazing and awesome co-host.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. You guys can find me on Twitter at It's Grant's Rants.
Hi, guys. I'm Jessie Zahner. You can find me all over social media at Athletic, and join us in the live chat on YouTube.
And I'm DJ Richie Skye, and you guys can catch me on Instagram and Twitter, and on Bravo at DJ Richie Skye.
Love it. Yes. Plug it.
Yes, we are just going to go right into it and start spilling some tea. So we just got done recapping the reunion yesterday.
24 hours ago we finished.
Yes.
Here we are.
Exactly.
We're reuniting here to acknowledge the reunion.
Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Reuniting.
Have you recovered?
Yes.
I want more.
I haven't.
It was really brutal, and I
was.
think it was to the point where it almost wasn't entertaining. To be honest, I thought it was so dark.
It's
honestly,
one-sided,
I thought it was kind of mean-spirited.
There's a lot of acrimony in our cast, and obviously, you know, the viewers like the drama, but at some point it's getting a little bit out of hand, I think.
Yep.
There's so much ill will among, you know, it's very divided. You saw the right and the left, and it got pretty bad, and I hear it's going to be, you know, I haven't seen the other part and how they've edited it. So
you haven't seen Mark come in for part 2 yet.
I have not seen how they edited it.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
Gotcha.
But, you know, LeeAnne and I were told to just basically hold on to our seats because it's not going to be fun.
And I noticed we didn't even get a preview for that.
Right. So I haven't seen anything either. So
It's going to be
we'll see
interesting.
what happens.
Yes. What is your take from all of that? Do you think that was a successful reunion? I know you can't really talk too much about part 2, but what kind of information can you give us?
I think, you know, everyone got their opinions out, and as usual, I always try to be, you know, the one that is the voice of reason, and I don't know how I just ended up doing that, but that's kind of, I take everybody's information and I sift through it, and I just kind of find what makes sense to me and what works, and I also just say what I think. I never really cookie cut anything. I don't hold anything back, and good or bad, that's just who I am. That's who I am in real life. So, and a lot of people, you know, like I said, I'll never be class favorite, but you'll always know where you stand with me.
True. Yeah. No, you have been honest
That's
the entire time.
very important on these shows.
Yeah.
I think what was really the most surprising thing, though, was at the reunion, we were told no husbands. And my husband was there, and LeeAnne's fiance was there. And then Mark came in, and we had no preview of them. We didn't know at all. So that really shocked us. And it really, for me, I mean, I don't care because I don't have any problem with Mark. And but I know that, you know, that made LeeAnne uncomfortable, because then she felt like, okay, they're going to come for me now really hard, because it's all about that relationship and that problem between Mark and myself. And so she felt like completely defenseless, and I don't blame her for walking out, because she was just slammed and lambasted the whole day. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how much more the woman could take, to be honest with you.
And you vocalized it too at the very end. Like, we were like, wait, that wasn't said, and all us viewers were able to be like, okay, whoa. So y'all really didn't know he was coming. It wasn't staged that LeeAnne, you know, cue LeeAnne to leave the set because Mark is coming.
And
like,
I
it was
knew
a genuine
before
reaction.
her, because my hair and makeup people had come out on set to fix my makeup, and they whispered in my ear, "Mark's been here all day," and I was like, "What?" And I went to LeeAnne, I said, "Mark's been here all day," and then she, you know, that was how it kind of unfolded. So I felt like this is what I feel like. You can bring out your husband, your children, your household help, your employees. You can bring out 3 circus and make me sit there by myself. I can handle myself, but just tell me you're going to do it. I don't care what you do. I mean, I don't care if you have 50 people and me sitting there by myself defending myself. Just tell me you're going to do it. That's what I didn't like. And Andy didn't know either.
He really had no idea. He really didn't know.
He was like, what? What are you talking about, D'Andra? He didn't know either. So it was, you know, one of those things that it was just like, he said, what do you mean they didn't tell? He said, what do you mean they didn't tell you? And I said, they didn't tell us. And so he did feel like that was an unfair advantage. And I saw that. I thought he really meant that.
Interesting.
That kind of explains why he was looking the way he looked when he said, so we're going to bring out Mark now. You know, I didn't understand it at the time. But that makes more sense now.
It's odd that he wouldn't know that.
I really felt like he was as shocked as I was that we were not prepared for this.
Yeah, that he,
I'm so curious. Can you
and I also felt, you know, as him kind of trying to lead the conversation and being a little bit of a moderator, so to speak, I felt like he was at a disadvantage because he was like, oh my God, you know, this is going to go down really bad. I think, you know, that's good for television, but it could also be a scary thing if you're having to be in the middle of it, you know.
One thing I said last night was, you know, LeeAnne has become really beloved on this panel and with fans, and mixed reactions and comments still, but I feel like she's won a lot of people over. But this show is continuing to paint her as a crazy person, and that's just not what people are resonating with her about. So I feel like the show has to take a turn. So in a way, that twist that you were mentioning with them surprising everyone with Mark, they're missing the mark. You know, people aren't really, either love to hate LeeAnne or they love her. A lot of people really, majority of people do not want to see this woman taken down, and that's what these reunions are doing to her. It's frustrating.
I think to your point that Grant, this was supposed to be her season of redemption, and I was coming on to kind of help her through her issues and you know, talk her through her going to anger management and everything. And we felt like we were kind of achieving that, and then, you know, wham, here it comes again. Yeah. So I hope that if we go to season 3, that she does have her season of redemption, and I believe she's really been working on herself. I have seen a change. You know, she says things like, I'm going to slit your little throat, and she thinks that's funny. It's, you know, that was, it. She said it to me, when she said stuff, I would be like, ha, 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 whatever. But, I mean, to take it to such a level that they take it to the extreme, and they all know it's not, you know, reality. Nobody's going to come with a knife in the middle of the night and hurt you, or, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's silly at this point.
So I think you bring up a good point with LeeAnne, this is being like her redemption season, because I've noticed a change in her too. And I said this before, and I said it last night. At the beginning of the season, I was not a LeeAnne fan. By the end of the season, my whole mind on her has changed. So do you feel like it's production that is like twisting like what's happening in these situations, or are these girls overreacting about things that aren't as dramatic as they're making them out to be?
I think that probably the girls, I think, are overreacting, and then they're just going with that because it is, you know, I mean, it makes good TV at the end of the day, you know, so, I mean, but I think that at some point they're going to have to pull that back just because. Let's get on to something else. What's the next story? Okay, my mom is like tired of hearing the story. She's like, I don't want to see that story anymore. I'm tired of hearing about it. I don't want to see anything about it. I don't want to hear, you know, no more of that. I'm bored. She's, I just turn that off when I see that on TV. I just turn that off. I'm so bored with that.
I love it.
And where do your relationships stand now? Like, are you
with the rest of the girls?
Yeah, with the rest of the girls. How are you now with the girls?
Well, I thought when I left Reunion, I was okay, and then. As you know, when we have, you know, we had yet to see the last episode of the show, and so we write our blogs and in real time as the viewers go along, because you don't want to reveal anything about what's going to happen, even if you know. So I just wrote my blog as if we're still in that moment, even though we'd already done the reunion. And then I got, you know, a lot of flack on Twitter from my castmates. I don't mind people coming on Twitter for me that don't know me. That's fine. I mean, they don't know who I am. They're just seeing 5 minutes of me on a screen.
You're going to have haters.
Yeah, but you know, when the cast takes your blog and, you know, puts your face out there with horns or whatever and does something, you know, I mean, and then says nasty things about you.
The cast does that?
Yeah, my castmates do that. And that's what bothers me, because I don't mind if they write about me in the blog, which is what I do, because I answer, you know, this is what my opinion is, and that's fine. And they can say, you know, I'm a bitch on wheels, and, you know, I ride around my broom. I don't care. But when you do that on Twitter, it just creates such a toxic environment, and I really think we need to get away from that, because I think it's messing up the show at the end of the day. You know, it's not good for the show, because we have to. Yeah. Everybody's now threatening, I'm not coming back, I'm not filming with her except for me. I'm like, I'll film with anybody else. So, you know, and I know that's all happening, and people are saying, well, she said she's not coming back, and but at the end of the day, they will come back and they will get to the table and we'll do it again if we get a chance to do it again.
Fingers crossed. I
Yeah.
want a season 3.
Yeah, I do too. I
We're
want a
pulling
season
hard
3.
for y'all. Yeah, we really are. We're trying to really promote this as much as we can online. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I want a season 3 with a different storyline that doesn't involve LeeAnne. You know, I want her to have a wonderful, you know, wedding, and I want her to go through. I want to do a lot of parties for her and be fun. And then the other girls, I think. I even said at the reunion, we all need to take a breath, and we all need to kind of, you know, just get out of this right now, you know, and stay away from each other for a little bit, and then maybe, you know, with time comes clearer perspective.
Right? And going back to blogs, I really like how y'all do write your blogs because it gives you know perception of how you're feeling today. And I noticed, speaking of blogs, that your blog wasn't posted after the reunion, unlike everyone else's. So what would you like to recap? What did you write on your blog that wasn't posted?
You know, and I was going to pull it up for you, but I basically said that, you know, it wasn't fair with what happened with Mark, and I defended the fact that a lot of people gave me a hard time about not standing up for LeeAnne for the PTSD thing. What people don't know about me is that I also have PTSD. I just don't put that story out there. But if you want to know, you can go online and put D'Andra Simmons Salvation Army, and you can see my entire story. And I'm a survivor of domestic violence, brutal domestic violence, and I told my story for the Salvation Army. I just got back from Iraq, and I visited with women that were captured by ISIS with Mercury 1 and talked to them. They were bought and sold many times. So I went in as I have been a victim too, and I can feel a little bit of what you've been through, nothing like they've been through. But and they would say to me, they would cry and say, I know you're, you know, that what you're saying is real because I can feel it because you're crying and you're telling your story to me. I don't say all those things. I mean, it's my first season on the show. I'm not going to, you know, go out there and put everything that's happened in my life. But just as LeeAnne, I've had several instances in my life that have, you know, been very traumatic for me. But I don't parade them around a lot. And when it comes out, it'll come out that that's happened. I mean, like I said, you can Google it anytime you want to, and you'll see my story on Salvation Army. So it's just one of those things. I wasn't feeling, I didn't mean to not be a good friend to her or not be sympathetic or empathetic because I felt like I was, but I've had to move past of my situations and not use that every time I get in a fight with somebody or every time there's a conflict. I can't go back to that and say, well, because something happened to me, this, you know, it just didn't work that way. Not when you're an adult. It shouldn't work that way.
I wanted to ask about the reunion. Early, the first part of the first reunion, like the first 10 minutes, you were talking about prepping. You said your mother recorded questions, or what exactly was this? How did you go about prepping?
Oh, yeah, so my mother, so I went to her, I said, so what would you, you know, do if you were me at the reunion? Because she's really good. I mean, the difference between my mother and me is that she came from the other side of the tracks like LeeAnne, okay? So, and like Brandi, so she can mow you down in 2 seconds flat because she's got, you know, street sense. I have books. I'm a book smart, bookworm person, you know, totally different. So I gave her, you know, what I thought, and she'd be like, well, I'd say, you know, if she was there, I mean, trust me, they'd just be like silent, everybody.
Yeah, we're huge Mama D fans.
I
As
know.
you know.
Oh my God.
Yes, and maybe, you know, fingers crossed for a third
minute.
season, and we'd love to have y'all Skype together
I wanted
for
her to
next
be on
season.
so bad, but she was up at 3:30 this morning because she's a patient advocate at the Simmons Cancer Center at the hospital, and so she had she has patients like 2 or 3 times a week, and so she gets up and meets them, makes sure they're all taken care of and everything. So.
And I swear, she doesn't look a day over fabulous with her, like how old she actually is. And I'm like, she is, that smoky eye keeps her so well. That smoky eye. I want a tutorial.
She needs to come out with an eyeliner. Oh my God. Yeah, like she's missing a mark here, right?
Right? She's great. What was her opinions on the whole reunion? What would she think about it all?
She felt that, you know, of course she was, now you shouldn't have said that word.
Oh,
right.
She doesn't like it when you cuss.
She doesn't like the cussing, no. And of course I always apologize for that because I know I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah, you're like, cut that, Mama D's not going to like that.
But I'm like, Mom, it gets really stressful. She did say, you didn't talk enough. You need to go and interrupt people and assert your opinion. And I said, Mom, I actually did talk, but you know, it's how they edit it, and it's really a lot of the stories about LeeAnne, so they're gonna, you know, focus it on that. But I did talk quite a bit because Andy and I had a little kind of thing that happened that he was talking to Cameron, and it was so funny because she said, I want to live in the pink bubble. You know, doesn't everybody want to live in the pink bubble? God love her. I think I love the fact that she is just, you know, in utopia all the time. It's great.
I enjoy it so much.
Same.
So he says, well, what about the news? She goes, oh, I don't watch the news. haven't watched the news in like 10 years. Why would I watch the news? Why would I watch something that's negative? And so he says, well, so how do you know what's happening in the daytime? She says, well, my husband tells me. And he goes, well, what if your husband gives you fake news? And I went, ah, really loud. And like, I was the only person that understood the joke. And so the rest of the day, he was going, what do you think, D'Andra? Is that fake news?
The wink.
That's why I did my blog last week and said, you know, the fake news or the real fake news or whatever it's called. So that was kind of our joke the rest of the time. So.
I like that. Ooh, that's interesting.
I don't know if it was on, because we had spoken to you via Skype earlier. I don't know if it was on this show or perhaps I've watched on a bunch of other things and read a lot of stuff. On that, you tell your mother not to watch certain shows if you say certain things. So she hasn't seen the whole season. Is that what it is?
Well, who knows if she really, you know.
Okay, yeah.
I told her not to watch the last 3 because when I did see them, because we have to preview the last 3 before the reunion, I was like, oh no, because I knew I'd cussed a lot, and then she was very upset, and she'll be glad I said this. She was very upset because she said, well, I didn't know that we had a bad relationship. I thought we had a good relationship. And then I read in your blog that you said we didn't have a good relationship because of the, you know, the family dynamics with the money and everything. So she was really upset with me for a while, and I kind of knew that being on the show with her being a character, there was going to be some rough moments, but we've gotten through it, and like I said, I'm the only child, and it's my only living parent. None of my grandparents are alive, so whatever, you know, happens, I'm still gonna, you know, mend fence with my mom always.
Right.
Of course.
And I just said, well, Mom, that's really how, you know, I felt the last few years since I came home from Washington. I felt like, you know, this control. She's a very controlling person, so am I. This control has kind of put a wedge between us, and if we didn't have the financial strains, I think that we would have a regular mother-daughter relationship. And it's not that we don't have a regular one, but I think we'd have a better one.
Right. And I really admire you opening up to everyone about your relationship with your mother on this season. It was great. And speaking of which, I love how you related it to your dogs, Gypsy and Dixie. How are they doing? Are they loving you a little more? Or how are they?
Now they're very mad at me now because I've been gone every week, and they sit on top of the suitcases, and then their dad's gone too. So Jeremy's gone to India until like the beginning of December.
Wow.
And I don't even, he just bought a one-way ticket because he's doing a story on the headhunters in Nagaland. So I haven't talked to him.
Yeah, when's the last time you've seen him?
I haven't talked to him in probably at least 5 days because there's probably no service where he is.
Yeah.
He was way up in the mountains and everything. So he doesn't even know about the In Touch magazine hot husband article that came out yesterday.
Right,
and all his friends are making fun of him. He has no clue.
And I love how you were mentioning on the reunion how people come up to y'all and were like, yeah, they recognize you, but they're like, oh, Jeremy. Like, we recognize Jeremy too from the season.
Well, did you hear the woman who said, I'm a gold star lesbian and I would have sex
with you? It was so good. And you know who's just as cute? Your stepsons. How are they doing? I know Keaton and Cohen's not really. We don't see Cohen much, but how's
but
Keaton?
You know what? He's like, I want to be on the show.
I was like,
of course, I would be.
You want anything to do
Smart
with this
man.
situation? And yeah, he's like, he knows he can get more dates. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
And he would be really good because I tried to get him to go to Second City. He's like a stand-up comedian. He's so funny, dry sense of humor. He's hilarious. So he may come, and if we go to season 3, like be home at spring break or be home, after school. He would be so good on the show. But we have a great relationship. So Keaton is still finding himself.
And how old is
Keaton? He'll be 22.
Okay, 22.
Yeah.
And we don't know much about Cohen, so give us a little more background on Cohen. How old is he?
He's 18.
He's 18, okay.
Yeah, and he is a ladies' man. He is something else, like his dad.
Cute.
He has those women just coming and going, and he tells them what to do. I'm not having a girlfriend. They're like, okay, fine, I don't care, I still love you. I'm like, what? How dumb are you? Really?
Okay, and is he in North Carolina too?
So he's at University of South Carolina, but he's in Spartanburg. So,
okay.
And he's on the kind of the fast track. He's already in he's going to go in the military afterwards, and he wants to be a psychologist.
Oh,
nice.
I like that. And Keaton's not going back to school anytime soon?
Well, he says he's going back, at the beginning of the year, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see.
I hope he does, but I'm not pushing him because like I said so.
We saw how you
pitched
him at the beginning of the season.
I wasn't really. I didn't say it the right way, but people don't see the 5-year relationship that, there's been ups and downs and, mountains and valleys. But I also said something funny. I said, well, I don't want to be Keaton needs to not do D'Andra or something like that. And I'm like, I didn't say that right. You know? Not do D'Andra.
Yeah.
But whatever he decides, I just have to say, you know, it's your path, it's your choice, and I'll be happy as long as you're happy. That's it.
Yeah.
Very true. I love that.
Yeah, I personally was so proud for you in the moment where you had that scene with your mother and she said that she was tired and she was ready to hand the keys over, and I felt good all the way up until the end when we learned about the copies.
Yeah,
so you made
copy of the key.
Yeah,
and she's still
what's the
coming in the
status?
morning.
What's
Like,
the
you know,
status?
maybe a key to the file cabinet. You know?
Yeah. So has anything really changed for you?
She has, we're working on turning the company over, and we talked a little bit about that at the reunion.
Okay.
And so that'll be, I think, more next week.
Okay, good.
But she's going to be coming to the office because, I mean, she's vivacious. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
why would she come to the office? She'd be bored out of her mind. But she goes to the hospital the other days, and she... You know, she dates, and so some. You know,
Yes, and that's why she didn't go to the engagement party.
The date.
I love that.
LeeAnne's engagement party. Like, yeah, she has a date, and we're all just like, wait a second, she's dating. Okay.
I'd love to know how she meets men, because you know I imagine
Like
she's
on
not
Tinder,
on the app.
she's swiping right on Tinder.
She thinks people that are doing social media dating. I just never do that. That's just crazy. She is being set up by friends. You know?
Good for her.
Good for her.
That's what I need. I'm serious. I
Yes.
can't do anything. I'm with her with the mobile. I can't do anything on the phone with that. Forget it.
I mean, it's kind of, I see my friends on Tinder, and then I see my friends' husbands on Tinder. I'm like, why are you there, you know? I mean, it's like, okay, wait, this is not right here, you know? Like,
Oh,
so,
wow.
I don't
it's
think
just-
that's how it's supposed to work.
I don't think so either. So I'm
No.
like, you know, and it's an interesting concept, but I don't think it wouldn't be for me, I don't think.
Right? Oh my gosh, that is
Interesting.
very interesting. Well, kudos to you. We're so happy for you that you do have the business. And we were talking about it. I wasn't expecting the keys to get handed to you this season. So I was actually
wasn't
a little
either.
surprised. I thought it was going to be a
I
little more
was so
suspenseful,
happy.
but
Yes.
knowing that at the end, I was like, whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how does it feel? Like,
I wasn't expecting it either. I thought we were just going to have a discussion, and I was going to get in trouble because of the ingredient that didn't come in on time.
L22?
Yeah,
L22?
22.
L22. I know Richie, I bet you have so many questions about L22.
I do. I have lots of, like, how's it doing?
It's doing good. It's doing really well. Yeah. So the only thing I said, Mom, why did you say that you didn't like it? You wanted it a little bit thicker. I'm like, that's not good on TV. I said, you know, I've lost an ingredient. You said you want it thicker. What do you think's gonna happen? You know. But it's all been fixed, and then it's doing. We've sold. So I think it launched Monday, and we've sold probably around 400, 500 bottles, something like that. So
wow.
it's good for a
That's
little
great.
company. You know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to reorder soon. Which I'm
Great.
So-
How
Jackie,
did
you
she
better get on it.
start the company?
So my mother's a cancer survivor,
Okay.
and before that, prior to that, she had a fashion business, and she was on the cover of Women's Wear Daily, and she did that for fun because she was in the dental hygienist world before that. And then when she married my dad, she didn't have to work, but she was bored out of her mind. So for a hobby, she decided that she would go be a fashion manufacturer's representative. And so she represented high-end lines. And she started in the back of a showroom that had swimsuits because she was in the wrong market and sold out of her complete, you know, everything that she had. And then she moved up to owning the showroom and having, like, probably, I think, 6 assistants and 20-something lines, and was at the height of her career and became ill with cancer. So when she had breast cancer, she closed that business down. But she did it. My dad's like, oh, yeah, you go have fun with your little business. And she said, okay, fine, I'll show you. And so she said, one morning they woke up on Saturday, and she said, he said, what do you want to do today? She goes, well, I'm going to go buy my Rolls Royce. And he said, with what? She said, well, with my earnings from the business. He's like, yeah, yeah, you are. And so she went in, and the guy wouldn't wait on her. And he said, well, you know, can I talk to your husband? And he said, how are you going to pay for this car? She said, how about a check? Would that work for you? She's sassy like me. So my dad was like, okay, wait, this is making money. I can't use this as a tax write-off, you know? But she went from having cancer to, after that, we both worked in the nutrition industry for some different companies, and then decided she wanted to start her own company. And that was Ultimate Living, and that was almost 22 years ago.
Wow.
Has the show helped the company at all? Have you noticed? Has it done really anything to help it along?
Yeah, it has. I mean,
Okay.
and that's really with my business, because what happened to me is my dad said when after I came back from Washington, after I'd worked a little bit for my mother, she was kind of ready to retire. And he goes, you know, look, if you don't want to work, just retire and you don't have to work. And I was like, I'm not going to sit around and not work and just do charity stuff. That's crazy. That's just not me, you know.
Right.
I mean, I would have probably gone back to school or something, gotten a PhD or, you know, because I could not be idle. And I said, well, I'll start my own company. Well, this is in 2006, and I launched my project in 2008, and the economy went straight down. And so I've had to basically pull myself out of that hole, because once your product launches and then nothing happens because there's a recession, you're irrelevant. So, you know, I had to make myself relevant again, and because you're not a new product anymore.
Right.
So find places to sell it. And this was a resurgence for me, for my product line. And then I want to develop, of course, makeup and different things. And everybody loves my eyeglasses, so I'll probably do that next year. And I have paleo cookies. I've got lots of stuff.
Yes, you are very relevant, D'Andra. Let me tell you that, because a certain housewife of Dallas thinks you're not. Cary on Twitter today said you're not relevant. How do you feel about that? That, like, you've been kind of getting some angry tweets lately.
Well, I feel like I have this year contributed to the show, and I feel like I've contributed as much as everyone else, and in a different way. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Richie. And in a different way. So I think I am relevant because I don't think everyone can be cookie cutter the same. I think you have to have different people with different personalities that bring different things to a show. Totally. Got to have voice of reason, got to have the crazy person, got to have the quirky person, got to have the fun person. I mean, all of that is what makes a good show. So I feel like it's really, you know, crappy that she said that, because I'm not going to say the S word because my mom's probably listening.
I hope so. I hope so. I've been dying to connect with her.
Later, you know?
Yes. I know.
I hope so.
It upsets me. A friend of mine would say something like that.
I was going to say, because you do have a previous relationship with Cary Deuber, correct?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
You have known each other for 9 years, is that right? You guys have...
9 years. I feel like that. I had a feeling, and we talked about this before, that when I went on the show, that there was going to be, like, you know, the parting of the Red Sea, so to speak. So because of me having such a strong relationship with LeeAnne, and then Cary and LeeAnne just don't get along.
I have a question. What happens to just calling people? I feel like sometimes when people get on the show and they're friends, and then something happens and they just don't talk, is it that they're trying to save it for, the camera, or like what happens?
Well, in this case, I wish they would save it for the cameras, because all of this talk is going on behind closed doors and not on the camera. And I think it would be great if it was on the camera, because it would be much more, make it more interesting, the show, to be honest. But it's a lot of talk behind people's backs, and that's the problem. And I think with me having to, they pretty much forced me to choose a side because of the fact, obviously, we were on the sofas, and then I tried to be so diplomatic about everything, but it got so vitriolic and hateful the whole season. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt so bad for LeeAnne, because she was crying, and she was, really feeling bad about herself and all the progress she had made. And she didn't feel like she was being portrayed the right way. And I just had to, step in and say, stop. Because I really felt like the last show, and we talked about this too, Rachel, when those girls were having lunch, and then they were talking about the scene on the boat and all those kind of things, I felt like that was total BS. I didn't feel like that was at all authentic, and I was very, very disappointed that I saw that.
So also with Cary, so my confusion with this tweet with her is she's also friends with Cameron. Does she tweet this way about Cameron too because Cameron is okay with LeeAnne?
To be honest, I don't follow Cary's tweets that much. One of my followers sent it to me, and that's how I was, and I was in LA, and they said, this is so rude. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So, and I don't think, and Cameron, she's just whatever. You don't like me, fine.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't really think that Cary and Cameron, Cary's more, I think, doesn't like me more because we have that history and because I'm so close to LeeAnne, and I feel like they all three probably don't want LeeAnne to be on the show, but let's face it, guys, if LeeAnne's not on the show, there's no show.
Totally.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what we said last
Let's get real here.
I've said this
Seriously.
over and over the last 24 hours.
Seriously.
But you know what? That's a terrible thing that Cary had to do that, because it really shows that the show has now trumped a friendship.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's ridiculous that's how she values the friendship. That it's easy to write it off because she's on a reality show.
Well, it's just disrespectful to say about somebody that you had a relationship with. It's one thing to be mad at you. That's one thing, but it's another thing to go there, because that's something that she would say that, you know, Brandi would do, right?
And I also, whenever we had our little moment at the reunion, which didn't play, and I'm glad it didn't, I said to her, as soon as it happened, and I knew it when it came out of my mouth, it was the wrong thing to say, and the kind of person I am, when the camera stopped, I walked over and I said, I'm very sorry. I made a mistake. Please forgive me. And, you know, I guess she didn't.
Well, what point were you apologizing for? I'm just trying to...
Oh, just some of the comments that have been made, and, you know, my opinion on those comments, and I, you know, don't want to upset anyone anymore, but I just, you know, I have just said my opinion on the comments about some things that were happening, and I should have kept my mouth shut in hindsight.
Well, speaking of Twitter, I know we have a lot of Twitter questions from a lot of your fans. So anything going on specifically in the live chat?
So, yeah, we have people in the live chat. So we have a few questions in there. Mason S. asks, what's your favorite moment from your first season on Housewives?
Oh, gosh. Probably the honesty. That was so fun, and I was terrified, believe it or not. I mean, I was so terrified because they're like, okay, now you have to control this. This is your big moment. You have to do this, and it has to be like, you know, it has to be great, and you have to get these girls to really come out and tell the truth because nobody's being honest. And so I'm like, God, really big apple, and I had my scroll. I was ready, guys. So that was fun for me. I mean, it got a little crazy, obviously, at the end because there was drinking from day into night. If you saw the scene, I mean, it was like really, really wild, but. It was fun for me, and if you heard my cackle, I mean, everybody's like, I love your laugh, because I was having fun with it, because it was so silly, and it was so funny, but the girls were actually talking about what the problems were.
And I love how you guys were all so dressed up, and I love seeing your bathroom, how much makeup you had.
God,
it really got
I was so embarrassed.
Oh my gosh, it just really, this was, you know, the first couple episodes, so we really are starting to get to know you, and then going into their bathroom, it's like, okay, whoa, it's just as messy as mine. Relatable. It's fine. It's just like,
I'll tell you a secret, okay? My mother's a perfectionist, so I'm a little bit of a hoarder. So I'm trying to, you know, rectify that situation. I have a friend of mine that's in the house taking things away. You know, she probably removed about 700 items of clothing from my closet.
Oh my goodness.
They say that's a good thing to
and
have
she's
someone
going through
else
my
do
drawers.
it.
True. Well, hey, if you need to give away any clothes, I'll take your hand-me-downs, specifically that $18,000 dress you have in your closet. If you want it to go to Goodwill, I am your Goodwill. I will be delighted to take that.
There's a line, honey. Get in the back, because it's been going on for a while. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'll leave it to them.
Amen. Awesome. What else is going on in the live chat?
We have Skye asks, what did you do with the robot that you used at the party?
At the White Christmas party.
That was, it actually had to go back to Amazon because my voice, you couldn't hear my voice very well. So it was kind of faulty, unfortunately. And I would have been in that scene much more, and I probably would have been at the glass throwing scene. But the robot wasn't. I was in like, okay, it was literally 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in Croatia. I was so tired, and I was trying to do this thing with my phone. I was in my iPad. I was just like, you know, like a drunk person with this robot around, even though I wasn't drunk at all. But I think they finally shut it off because the voice, they couldn't hear me, and I couldn't hear them. So it was too bad. So it went back to Amazon.
So were you there with the girls while all the glass scene happened?
The robot, you couldn't hear me.
Okay,
so I would have probably gone in for that glass throw and intercepted. That would have been so epic. You know?
Even if they cut to the glass and they cut to the shards on the floor, and if they just cut to you,
that would have been magical.
Epic.
I would love to just like right in there and intercept it and then have the glass break on me. That would have been so fun.
Right? Oh my gosh, I love that.
Next time, just show up in hologram.
I love this show.
Seriously.
And I know you have some Twitter questions too. Do you have any specific?
Blah blah. So this one's from Leah Ray. She says, I have a feeling sometimes you get like LeeAnne level angry behind closed doors. Is that true? Do you have a temper, D'Andra?
I have a temper, not like that. I have, my husband though is a veteran, and he says that he would rather go to war than fight with me.
Wow.
So I mean, I have a past of being, you know, a little bit, you know, angry, but not No, not like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I know you box. You're a boxer.
yes.
Yeah, so I mean, hey,
Oh,
I
that's
take you to the
great.
ring.
I'm going
yeah.
back into my boxing class because I've had to miss
Hey.
it for a few months. And so I saw my trainer the other day. I'm like, I got to come back. I really need to do that. It's good for aggression when you're on this kind of show, you know?
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Totally.
So Michael Horn at Michael Horn 23 asks, D'Andra, you were such a great addition to the show this year.
Absolutely.
If you were LeeAnne, where would you go from here with Brandi, Stephanie, and Cary?
I would certainly, I don't draw lines in the sand because I think that when you start drawing lines in the sand, then you're the first person to go out, you know? So
Right.
I would go and just be cordial and be gracious because we're going to be shooting scenes together. If we go forward in the next season, we're going to have to all work together. And of course, I will probably have to be some sort of the peacemaker here and make everybody talk to each other. I see that coming down the pike probably, you
yeah,
know?
that's a big foreshadow.
And
I see too.
we'll see if I can even do that. But I think they all have to. Every single one, including me, has to try to start anew and see if we can get along and see if we can respect each other. You don't have to like the person. My dad always told me this. You don't have to like the other person you're working with. Just respect them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's really important.
Who do you think it would be the easiest to start with?
For LeeAnne or for me?
Both of you guys.
Oh, well, Stephanie and I always got along really well, but it's been difficult the last
Which we
few-
never really saw, though.
Right, you never saw that. We knew each other a little bit from some of the charity things the last few years.
Yeah, LeeAnne said that.
Yeah, so we got along very well, but then when she, you know, she takes that side, that
Right.
hard line all the time of whatever Brandi and Cary do, it's like she has no, I mean, I wish she would just get some balls and, you know, have an opinion, her own opinion, and not what people are telling her to think.
Yeah.
Because I know that Brandi's her friend, but that whole thing that happened over the summer, and then all of a sudden, okay, we're friends again. Same thing with Cary. Okay, we're friends again. You know, you can say I was the nanny and then I had an affair, but now we're friends again. That doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And I think it would be much more interesting if you didn't accept that person and you actually had to sit down and say, you know, you said I'm the nanny. I'm not okay with that. I don't know if I can accept you right now as my good friend again, rather than just like, kumbaya, we're all done. Poof. You
Well,
know,
yeah.
the magical
Right.
fairy has come in.
Well,
because-
all they did was shovel it on LeeAnne. They blamed LeeAnne, so they both said, oh, "Okay, it's
Yeah.
her. It's
Then it
because
was
of her."
easy. It was easy to
Yeah,
make up.
that's the only
and
problem.
that bothered me. I would, you know, I still, Brandi and I had fun in Mexico. Okay, we had a lot of fun in Mexico, and I don't know if you saw a little bit of that or not. And Stephanie and I had fun. Cary, you know, she was not happy in Mexico because she was unhappy with LeeAnne the whole time, but. And I would hope that we could be friends, but it's so, right now there's just such a divisive line, and the fighting on the Twitter and all that kind of stuff is just, it's hard. I mean, it's hard on me because I have to also run a business. I can't tweet all night long and then go to work the next day and then reach, you know, go get up at 7 in the morning and start writing hateful things. I don't have time for that. So,
Right.
I mean, I have a real job to go to. So I can only handle so much of it. And it's so toxic that, and I have feelings too. People don't see the fact that I get hurt and my feelings get hurt when people say nasty, horrible things about me. It does affect me. Last week I had my breakdown, so to speak. I came home because there had been so much on, I think it was Monday and Tuesday. And on Wednesday I came home and I just my girlfriend staying with me and I just started crying. I said, I don't know how much more I can take of this. And that's not me. I'm just usually pretty, you know, okay with everything. So if it gets to me, it's getting bad.
Right.
Ah.
Now I know we need to get wrapping up, but I want to ask a this or that. I have 10 questions
Ooh.
for you. This or that, like very rapid fire questions.
So I can
I'm
say this or
excited.
that.
Yes, you'll have to say one or the other, what you prefer.
Games.
These are something, you know, just to get to know you a little better within the studio, right? Okay, so this or that. Ice cream or froyo?
Ice cream.
Sweet or sour?
Sour.
Flip-flops or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Apple.
Baseball or football?
Football.
Car or plane?
Plane.
Spring or fall?
Fall.
Zoo or aquarium?
Zoo.
Skydiving or bungee jumping?
Bungee jumping.
Ooh, bungee jumping.
Nice.
That's good. All 10. That's good. Good.
You took that very seriously, D'Andra. Thank
Yes, I know you're quick too.
I haven't been. I
That's
haven't
funny.
done the bungee jumping. I have done the zip lining many times. So, but I don't think I could do skydiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like a bucket list of yours, bungee jumping, or what's on your bucket list?
On my bucket list is climbing Mount Kilimanjaro because I haven't
Ooh.
done that, and just maybe first camp base of Mount Everest. So
Wow,
I don't want
that'd
to
be
try
crazy.
the whole
Why do I
Yeah.
feel like you're gonna do it?
Because my husband will make me do it because I just said it.
Because you've been so
Yeah.
many places around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, where haven't you been?
Well,
That's the kind of
I'm
question.
so right now he's in the northern India part, and we're going back to Iraq to do more charity work, and then we're going back to Africa as well to work with ISIS has moved into Africa now, so we're going back to work with women there that have been captured and released, and the work that we do with Mercury One, they rescue women and children, so we go back and work with them, and then we get them immigrated to Australia or to Canada because we're not taking them right now. Our country, our lovely country, is not taking them right now. But anyway, so we'll be going back to Africa again, and I'd like to go back to some parts of Asia and Maldives before it sinks in the ocean.
Right? Global warming, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you for having me.
D'Andra.
I feel like I talk too much.
No.
That is the perfect
We love
interview.
it.
Seriously.
I feel like at this point in the season, you must be so tired of answering the questions about the other ladies and having
Right.
addressed everything. I feel like you've done it because you've done a lot of press. You
Yeah.
must kind of feel relieved in a way that the season's wrapping up.
This is my favorite part, actually.
Okay, really?
I love meeting people. I love doing interviews, and it's really my favorite part. So thank you for having me.
Yes, you're
Thank
such a
you.
people
Cheers.
person.
Yes.
And I truly admire that about you. Not only are you just flawless on camera, but y'all, she is flawless in person too.
Yeah.
She has such a great spirit. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and so again, where can we find you on all social media?
D'Andra Simmons on Twitter, on Facebook, and also on Instagram.
Awesome. And then DJ Richie Skye, what about you?
Snapchat, but I'm not real good at that. So.
Me neither.
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at DJ Richie Skye.
I'm Jessie Zahner. You can find me all over social media at Athletic, and thanks for joining us in the live chat tonight.
Yes, and D'Andra, please give my regards to your mother. Please.
Yes.
I've been trying to connect with her this season, so through
She
you
will
I will.
come back. She will come with me one day.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes.
You guys can find me at all times on my podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk, and recapping Real Housewives of Dallas on realityt.com.
Yes, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Go ahead and give this a thumbs up and follow AfterBuzz on Instagram at AfterBuzz TV. I'm Rachel Robillard, and y'all can find me at Rach_Robillard. We'll see y'all next week talking part 2.
The end is near.
Oh, the
Lord.
end is near. So we will see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.